All right, there was really no good way to film it because I didn't know how I was going to get in with the floor. I had an idea, but I wasn't sure what method was going to actually work. So ended up coming in through the driver's door, diagonal, with the rear of the floor going in first towards that way, and then right up over the into the C-pillar there. But dropped it in that way, got it rotated, and it actually fit right in. So dropped in there pretty good. Now we got to go around and actually check and see how it's fitting up and what it looks like up close. All right, fit up under here is looking pretty good. You got that gap there, which of course is, you know, it's hard to do. The light. Let me see if I can pull this down. Nice and tight, yeah. That's just the springiness in the panel. And get that down in the center first, draw that down, and then we'll work our way out down the hoop. And then actually what that'll do too is, because there is a slight gap, maybe an 1/8 of an inch gap between the outer flange and the inner rocker. So we want to make sure we take up all that slack by drawing this down tight and then smoothing it out from the center outward, so we end up getting all that excess length that we possibly can. So we're not trying to bridge a gap between that flange and the inner rocker on either side. And obviously we want this to be down anyway, so just for rigidity, since that's going to be welded to the cross member. The rest of this is looking, see, here you can see where I'm talking about. Pull the light away, you can see the gap. So we'll get rid of that excess by smoothing it out from the center outward. This is sprung a little bit. Now, would that mount be perfectly centered as to where it was from the factory? I don't know. So, but if you get a screwdriver in there, you can actually, you can take up that slack and get it located right where you want it. So I'm not too worried about that. We'll do some test fitting. We'll go back and forth till it's just right. And then once we do, we'll get some self-tappers in there, or some Clecos, and kind of hold it in position. And then we can start marking it out for where we need to drill. Well, just mocked up, nothing welded in yet, but I'll tell you what, it's satisfying just to sit back and relax for 2 minutes. I bet you nobody sat in this seat for probably close to 40 years. Let's get that to focus here. Okay, it wouldn't focus last time. That looks a little better. Spot welds look all right. I'm still learning it. I'm learning how long I really need. I did test it on some scraps, but you know, in actuality, it's a little bit different. So it's only like a second and a half. I think I gotta go a little bit quicker on them. But they look all right. All right, different opinions on the cowl going on before the firewall's installed. It seems like the majority of people say you should assemble the upper cowl to the firewall and then install everything as one. Maybe that's the right way. I just felt more comfortable doing it this way, so that if there's some minute changes that need to be made, like moving the cowl an 1/8 of an inch this way or that way or whatever, you can still make up for it by sliding the cowl around on the firewall. we'll see how it works out. Maybe it's not the right way. Not too bad. I mean, just sitting on there, but I think we got enough room we can wiggle it around. Before I weld that in place, we're gonna have to get these A-pillars in so I can make sure everything's gonna line up here, and we're gonna get the right distance for the windshield, right? I'm pretty sure the best way to do that is, since I'm not changing the inner structure of the A-pillar, we're going to measure off of this line here, right? That's a fixed position. We're going to measure back to the 90 in here so that we can see just how much gap we're supposed to have in order to accommodate the windshield and the trim. And same thing on the other side. So maybe now the best thing to do is cut out this old A-pillar. So I like to use the Clecos, but Clecos don't really give you that pull. They're good for holding things in place. They don't really pull things into place, right? So we have some sheet metal screws here just to make sure that we're locating the inner fender, right? So we can't move it in and out like this, right? So we got that lined up through some sheet screws in it. And also it tightens up the gap considerably, because the gap from the AMD panel onto the original stuff, it's not going to be a perfect fit. So you do want to draw it in like that before welding. So some guys like Clecos, and I like to use them too, but it is better with for this purpose. Throw some screws in it. So I think we got the fit on there pretty good. And then just spot welded the tab of that cowl, the firewall, back onto the A-pillar here. I know I got a bunch of rust repair here to do, but we got the A-pillars right here. So that'll be next. I already cut off the top of this one, but we still have the flange of it here. So we got to grind off all the spot welds or cut them out and get these pieces off. I think we're going to get to a point here where a roof skin is inevitable. And not just because of the roof skin itself, but under the drip rails here is worse than I thought. I pulled off the trim pieces on the passenger side a while ago, but I just pulled off these driver's side today, and you can see under here is bad. And this is not part of the roof skin, right? So we're gonna have a decent amount of metal repair to do here, and it gets worse as the further we go down. So I think that we can just cut some pieces and weld them in. I guess I'm not going to know until I dig deeper into it, but at this point I think a roof skin is going to be pretty much inevitable. Oh well, what are you going to do? We've come too far now. Almost starting to look like a whole car again.